Here we have James Madison, an American statesman, political theorist, and the 4th President of the United States. He's the father of the Constitution, author of the Bill of Rights, and a lifelong politician. Greetings, President.
Well, I just want to say that I'm very honored to be here.
We learned that your close friend, Thomas Jefferson, gave you kind of an in for the presidential office. Is that true?
Well, going into the election, I'm very shy in nature, so a lot of the Democratic Republicans didn't think that I would be outgoing enough, especially coming from our former president, who was very spoken. So it helped that he gave me a little push for the election so they would believe in me.
The United States entered the War of 1812 while you were in office. How did it feel being in the middle of this crisis? What was your response?
Well, I didn't like how the British were pushing us around, so it had to be done, and I called for a bigger military, and we had to go into war.
Lots of viewers have something to say about the National Bank Act that you signed. If you're so against it, why did you sign it?
Well, the first time around I vetoed it, but the second time I realized that we couldn't go to war without British, because we weren't economically stable enough without the National Bank.
What was your view on foreign policy before the War of 1812?
Well, I didn't like how the British pushed us around, and I think it was time to make a stand since they were capturing our military boats and such.
So how did you feel about Jay's Treaty?
Well, Jay's Treaty, I despised it, and I tried very hard not to make it go through, but the House and the Senate wouldn't go for it, so we had to trade 10 long years with the British.
How did you feel about domestic policy with everything going on in the War of 1812?
Well, they're not as important as foreign affairs, so I felt like we shouldn't focus on them, especially with our country at war.
Do you feel like the U.S. should take part in the French and English issues?
Well, I wanted to remain neutral, but they started using us against each other.
Why did you choose to throw away the Articles of Confederation and write the Constitution?
They were allowing us not to tax, so we couldn't pay off our Revolution debts. We had barely any control, and no one was following them, so they were a joke. We had to rewrite the entire Constitution so people would follow them.
Did you feel it was necessary to go into the War of 1812?
I felt it was necessary because if not, people were just going to see us as the little weak country and keep pushing us around and using us.
Does President Monroe have your support in his presidency?
Well, even though we ran against each other, we are on the same political party, so I hope he represents us very well.
What are your hopes for this nation?
Well, I hope that we remain independent and that we don't get involved with foreign affairs or become attached to the British again. And I hope that we continue to have a strong military and focus on the Constitution.
If you could change something about your presidency, what would it be?
Well, I think I would have to go with the bonus bill of 1817, which focused on having more infrastructure and improvements of roads and bridges and stuff. I vetoed it at first, but now I think I would go back and change it.
Any closing remarks?
Thank you all for listening to my ideas. It was an honor being your president and representing the United States.